This episode is made possible by the support we get from Fort Collins Kia. If you are in the market for any electric Kia, not only do they never add market adjustments, they will deliver your car to you anywhere in the 48 contiguous states for out-of-spec viewers. More information in the link in this episode's description. Hello and welcome back to the Out of Spec podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah. The EX30 is finally coming to the United States. Cue all the eagle noises, fly the American flag. We are getting the EX30 out of Volvo's Belgium factory. Now, Volvo has quite a few factories across the globe. They have factories in India, Malaysia, they have factories across China. Volvo specifically is a Swedish brand, and so they have factories in Sweden as well. And they even have a factory in the United States, here in South Carolina, where the EX90 and Polestar 3 are produced. But coming out of Volvo's Belgium factory, we will see the EX30 produced for the European market and then here shipped to the United States for American customers who want the EX30. Now, a couple months ago in November, Volvo made a press release pretty much saying, hey, we're going to start fulfilling the first EX30 pre-orders this year by the end of 2024. And they did exactly that. However, these EX30s were made and shipped out of China, one of Volvo's Chinese factories. So they moved production of the EX30 to Belgium, and they're going to ship it here to the United States. Now, for right now, as Volvo has said it in their most recent news press letter, is that the single motor rear wheel drive version of the EX30 will only come to the United States later in 2025. I'm expecting it like the last quarter of 2025, just by the end of this year when we're going to get the rear wheel drive single motor variant. At first, now we are going to get the twin motor, or what most people know as dual motor variant, all-wheel drive of the EX30. Before we continue, some simple specs about the EX30, right? Starting at $44,900, that is with the all-wheel drive version, with a twin motor, the dual motor performance option. And so we're not getting the rear wheel drive just yet. EPA range up to 253 miles, 0 to 60 as low as 3.4 seconds with the twin dual motor performance, and then a 69 kilowatt hour nickel manganese cobalt battery. It's also worth mentioning that the EX30 will likely not qualify for the $7,500 or $3,750 tax credit. But that's likely going to go away for all EVs. I mean, that's still undetermined what's going to happen there. I do have to say, right, initially when this was unveiled in, I think it was like late 2023, right, we saw the $35,000 price that was initially advertised. And for a subcompact SUV, which what the EX30 is, I think that's super competitive. Volvo is a more premium brand, and so it's expected that prices are going to be a little higher. But for $44,900 for an all-wheel drive EX30, I mean, that is in rear-wheel drive Model Y, Mach-E, Ioniq 5 territory. And so it'll be interesting to see how this holds up. But the more competition, the merrier. I love seeing new EV models come, particularly those that are made elsewhere and already sold elsewhere, and come to the United States. The EX30 is one of the best-selling EVs in Europe. In August of 2024, it was the second best-selling EV, right behind the Model Y, and they've sold over 100,000 units so far there. So clearly the EX30 is a competitive vehicle, but with this US pricing, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I also think it's worth mentioning that the European and Chinese spec EX30 have many more powertrain and trim options. So of course they have the Core, which you can then get with the rear wheel drive. Then there's the Plus and Ultra, which you can get with the rear wheel drive. You can get rear wheel drive extended range, and then you can also get the twin motor, dual motor performance. Here in the United States, regardless of whether you get the Plus or the Ultra, you are getting one powertrain that is the dual motor, twin motor performance. And so our prices, of course, are going to be a little higher. It's not exactly sure what Volvo plans for pricing here in the United States. But once production at the Belgium factory starts ramping up, then we will actually see some clarification on pricing when it comes to the rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive models. Now, we'll go to the Chinese website. You can see here the starting price for the EX30 is 200,000 Chinese yuan, which converts to about 27,000 US dollars. We can actually go to the Chinese configurator here. We'll see the rear wheel drive, which is titled Core, starts at 200,000 Chinese yuan. Then we go to the Plus, which is the all-wheel drive version, starts at 219,000 Chinese yuan, which is about 30,000 US dollars. Super competitive pricing here, but these are Chinese manufactured vehicles. We know Chinese manufacturing, a lot cheaper, easier to produce things. China is just a manufacturing mecca. If we go to the British spec of the EX30, we'll see here that the Core starts at 32,000 British pounds, which is about 40,000 US dollars. And of course, the Plus is a little more. And we'll kind of talk about what separates some of these trims in a second. Now, in fact, I'll talk about it now. For the Chinese and European spec, there is a bigger difference between the Core, the Plus, and the Ultra. Of course, the Core is the single motor, the Plus is the all-wheel drive, and the Ultra is also the all-wheel drive version. However, with more options being in the Chinese and European markets, they get twin motor performance, they get a single motor extended range, with all of these different trims. There's a lot of options here that the other markets get. If we go to the US configurator, in fact, you'll see we get Plus and Ultra, which are on the exact same powertrain, which gets you 253 miles of EPA range with a 3.4 second 0 to 60, which is actually pretty nuts. This thing is going to be zipping around, which you can see, right? There is only one powertrain option. And unlike the other markets where the difference between Plus and Ultra comes for a lot of the interior features and options, for the Plus and Ultra, it is almost identical, except that Ultra gets you more autonomous features. You are getting park pilot assist, so automatic park, 360 camera with 3D view, pilot assist, so just more on-road autonomous features. But I believe these are all software-based. So essentially, the Plus and Ultra are going to be pretty much identical in the United States, with the same powertrain, and the only thing that's going to really separate them are the exterior paint options and the interior trim options. So you can see here, right, China, they get so many options. If you want the Ultra, and then you want, right, the single motor rear wheel drive Ultra, you can do that. But here in the United States, where if you get the Ultra or Plus, regardless, you're just getting the all-wheel drive version because that seems to be the more popular model with customers who want the EX30. So yeah, pricing here is a bit of a mess, unfortunately. I do have to say, again, we were anticipating like $35,000 starting price. Now things change. And of course, again, this is all-wheel drive versus the rear-wheel drive single motor. So of course the price is going to be a little more. But when you spec this thing out, I mean, you're approaching almost $50,000 out the door, right? Starting at $44,900, there is a $1,295 destination fee for shipping. You know, that's already getting you at $4,600. So, sorry, $46,000. $4,600 would be nice. No, $46,000. So that's that can be pretty hefty. Now, let's just go through the configurator. So we have the Plus, right, and the Ultra. As you mentioned, the Ultra is the same thing as the Plus, except it gives you more autonomous features. 360 camera, pilot assist, automatic parking, park assist, and a little more. Same powertrain, so 3.4 second 0 to 60, 422 horsepower, 253 miles of range, which I think 250 needs to be like the minimum amount of range you're getting for an EV at this point. But for $50,000, 250 miles for something this small, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Now, in terms of paint options and interior options, regardless of what trim you get, you are able to get all of the paint options, all of them are free, no matter which color you get. So we have Moss Yellow, which is the first color we saw advertised of the EX90, which I think it looks really good in. I love wacky colors like this. It just pops out, and it is something that really grabs your attention. And then we have this Cloud Blue, which is like a pastel blue, right? Volvo says a pure light solid blue color with a wittish character inspired by the cold air of snowy Swedish winter landscapes. And we can see this here. It's a nice color as well. Then we have Crystal White interesting color name. Shimmering white pearl with a soft, deep pearlescent effect for a silky appearance. Of course, you got to go with your classic colors, white, black, gray, and that's what the EX30 has. Looks decent in this white. I think all Volvos look good in white. There's something about the white that Volvo Geely Polestar uses a color that just works with the design language. Then we have Onyx Black, which would be my spec. Onyx Black on the EX30. This thing looks so stealthy. If you get it in any other color, these lines here at the front bumper as well as the logo really pops out more, and you can see the black within the headlights. And then when you get black paint, all of that's hidden. So it looks really just stealthy and really it looks really cool. Not to mention that the roof line is also black, so it matches with the roof line, versus if you get in any other color, you're gonna have a black roof and kind of stands out there. Now, actually going back to some of the other websites, if I go to the British spec of the EX30, if you get the core version, you'll actually see that the roof is color matched. So unlike in the US, where we're just getting the Plus and Ultra, where the roof is black, the core, the rear-wheel drive, the very base model, can get this color-matched roof, which I think looks actually better if you were to get a different color. So if we get here in cloud blue, I think it just looks better with a color-matched roof versus it in black. But what color would you guys pick? Let me know down in the comments. In terms of wheels, we're only getting the 19-inch 5-spoke wheels, which kind of sucks. And these are all-season tires as standard. These are free, but we're not getting the 18-inch or 20-inch wheels that the European and Chinese models are getting. I'll show you guys what those look like. So if I go over here to the Plus, you can see here it gets the 18-inch 5-spoke wheels. And these look, let's see, how much different are these compared to the US version? So on screen here, you can see these are the 18-inch 5-spoke wheels. And then going back, these are the US spec 19-inch 5-spoke wheels. So they're a little different. A little different looking, but not crazy drastic. If I go down to the Ultra, that's where you get the 20-inch 5-spoke aero wheels. And these look really nice. You can see it here. Don't these look sweet? And these are in summer tires. But unfortunately, we're not getting these. The US market is only getting these 19-inch 5-spoke wheels, unfortunately. But the Chinese and European market, so lucky, they have so many more options. And again, these 20-inch 5-spoke wheels just look super good. What spec would you guys go with? I mean, in terms of, again, paint color and wheels, which wheels do you guys like more, the 18-inch, 19-inch, or 20-inch? Let's go back to the US website. And we have, in terms of interior options, all of them are free. However, you're getting 4 interior options if you get the Ultra trim, and you only get 2 interior options if you get the Plus trim. So for the Ultra trim, which is the highest trim for the US spec, and for all specs of the EX30, there is a mist, which is a gray pixel knit Nordico, which is the material used on the seats. And that is a cloth. These are cloth seats, which for $50,000, cloth seats. I actually don't mind cloth seats. Do you guys like cloth seats? I think cloth seats are comforting, and there's something about them that I can appreciate. However, for something like this cost, I would imagine you would want some sort of leather option maybe. Cloth holds in smells a lot easier. It's a lot harder to clean. But you're getting this mist, and then you're also getting this breeze pixel knit Nordico color, all for no additional cost, no matter what interior you pick. And this breeze and mist colors, again, only for the Ultra. And I like this breeze color. This is actually really, really nice. So you can see it's leather on the outside, but the inside here of the seat is cloth. But that looks really good. Yeah, the breeze. So you can actually, so on the mist, the gray seats, the entire seat looks to be cloth. However, if you go to breeze, only the inner of the seat is cloth. Now, for Indigo, which is really a blue. Volvo calls it indigo. In the US, indigo means purple. However, it seems in Sweden it means blue because this is like a navy dark blue. But same thing, the outer of the seat is leather, the inner of the seat, the inner side of the seat is cloth. And then when it comes to pine, which is like this dark green, it seems to be similar. So leather on the outside, right? Cloth on the inside. But again, no additional cost no matter which one you pick. So you can get seats with some leather on them, but regardless, no matter what option interior you pick, you're going to get cloth seats on the actual seating side itself. Now, right, if we go to Plus, you can see the only interior options you're getting with the Plus trim are pine, dark green, and this blue indigo that Volvo has here. In terms of options for the EX30, there is a climate package, which will give you heated front seats as well as a heated steering wheel, which you can add for $500. I think a lot of people, especially those not in Florida, will get that here in Florida, which it actually snowed this past week. 30-degree weather, and we had a ton of snow. You can't see it anymore, but there's a lot of snow going on here. And that's actually come in handy with my R1T, which has heated seats as well as a heated steering wheel. So, but for those elsewhere, where everywhere else in the world it snows and the EX30 will be sold, climate package makes sense. $500, which is pretty good. A lot of other companies, I'm speaking to you, Lucid, which charges like $2,000 for the climate package for a heated steering wheel and heated front seats. They're not standard. Kind of crazy. But yeah, out the door here, if we just go for the Plus trim, you can see, and you remove the climate option for $500. Out the door, base price is $46,195. Again, that's a $44,900 MSRP starting price with a $1,295 destination fee. So that gives you, regardless, base price of $46,195. And then you start adding on options, and that's when things are going to get a little more pricey. But that's touching $50,000 for this. Do you guys think it's worth it? Be pretty interesting to see how the EX30 sells, particularly because it is smaller. It is a subcompact SUV. It's smaller than the competition, but it is a Volvo, so it's got some of the Volvo brand recognition there. It is a little more premium, albeit does have cloth seats, but it's more options, right? All-wheel drive, okay range. I think the EX30 could do okay, but we'll actually have to see how it actually sells, not just give our speculation. I'm looking forward to seeing this on the Out of Spec channels. Here at Out of Spec, we're pretty excited. So expect very soon on the Out of Spec reviews and maybe even the motoring channel, we'll see more content about the EX30 and what it has to store here for the US spec. Now, we actually already have a video about the European spec of the EX30. You can check that over here in the iCard, and we've kind of went over all of the really details of the EX30. As I've mentioned, second best-selling EV in August in Europe. And they've sold over 100,000 units. It's selling pretty well there. However, they do have the rear-wheel drive version. What spec would you guys go with? I think the white looks good as well. I love wacky colors, so I think the moss yellow also looks like pretty neat. But I just go with the black. The black just looks super sleek and awesome. So yeah, let me know what spec you guys would pick. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the Out of Spec podcast, and I'll see you guys in the next one.